What's up, folks? My name is Naquan, and welcome to Cloud Out Loud. So, we're going to be focusing on VPCs today. VPCs are virtual private clouds, which are pretty much just your dedicated space in the cloud to house and provision your virtual resources. AWS is responsible for a large portion of the cloud. They have all of these sectors within the cloud, um, powered by their data centers across the region, which they can rent out space to users who uh, pay a certain amount of money or a certain amount of resources to rent out or carve out their own space within the cloud, the virtual cloud. So we're going to look at VPCs and how to set those up. All right, so first thing we need to do is access our AWS console. And we see in a recently visited, there's multiple ways to look at it. You can just search VPC up top. You see the recently visited is right here, or you can save your favorites up at the top here as well. So we'll go ahead and click on VPC, and that'll take us to the VPC dashboard. Now you can see all of the components that live within the VPC right here. Oh, excuse me. We don't necessarily need all of these components to set up a VPC. There are a few that we definitely need to have in order to set up our VPC. Um, all of the assigned regions, you'll see North Virginia assigned to all of these components of the VPC. We can go ahead and change the region that we're housing our VPC in up here if we want to. There's regions in the US, Asia, Canada, and Europe, as well as South America, Sao Paulo. But we're going to stick with North Virginia for now, which will suffice. And we don't need to worry about any of this stuff right now. We're going to go ahead and create our VPC. All right, so you have two options for the VPC settings. You got VPC and more, which is the default, or you got VPC only, which just focuses on the VPC setup. It's more of a manual walkthrough. After you create this, you'll go ahead and create your subnets, your internet gateway, so on and so forth. VPC and more creates all of that stuff for you right up front. So you'll see in the preview here, you got your VPC, your subnets, your route tables. Um, your VPC, like I mentioned, compared it to like a floor that you rent out from AWS within the cloud. So this is your virtual floor right here. Your subnets are like the rooms or the lounges or the spaces within your floor. So you got rooms, you got offices, you got cafes, you got lobby areas, all of the sections of your floors. These are your subnets, right? Um, so you got public and private subnets. A public subnet, that would be more like a cafe or a reception area or a conference room, things that were publicly accessed, and not as closed off. A private subnet would be more like a private office or a private conference room or like a server room. So talking virtual, these would be the comparisons. So you got your subnets and then you got your route tables. So your route tables are going to be responsible for telling the resources where to go on your floor, which is your VPC. So you got some resources that are going to live in your public subnets. You got some resources that are going to live in your private subnets. So you need somebody or something to direct those resources and tell them where to go. So that's what your route tables do. That's automatically created along with your subnets and your VPC all at once. So the first thing you're going to need to do is name your VPC, and we're going to go ahead and name it like so, Cloud Out Loud. VPC, you'll see it's updated automatically, and then it attaches the dash to whatever it is. So your subnet or your VPC or your route tables, you'll see it all has it incorporated in the name. Your CEDAR block, that's going to designate a certain amount of IP addresses for the resources that you're going to add to your VPC. And you'll see in this gray area here, 16 allots us 65,000 plus IP addresses. So that's a large block of IP addresses that we can use. All right there. IPv6, we're not going to worry about that right now, so we're going to keep that on the default. Tenancy, that is going to be the default. The default is just a public tenancy, which is pretty much if we're comparing the VPC to a floor in an office building by AWS, a virtual floor, the tendency would be an office building that has multiple tenants, which who all have VPCs or floors in this office space. If you have a dedicated building, which is the only building, you're the only tenant who has floors in that building, that's going to be your dedicated VPC or your dedicated tenancy setup. The difference with that is the dedicated tenancy is going to be more expensive. Default is going to be enough for us. We're just a startup. We're looking for our first VPC. More than enough for us. Next to the availability zones, you want to spread out for availability and redundancy. You want to have your subnets on multiple availability zones. They say at least two, you can get to up to three. Two is going to be good enough for us right now. We want public subnets, at least two. No private subnets for now. NATs that will go alongside a private subnet if we need it. Internet access for our public internet access for our private subnets. We would go ahead and create an NAT, but that also costs money, so we don't want to use that right now. This is just a simple VPC setup with two public subnets. We don't need VPC endpoints right now either, so I think we are good to go. Let's go ahead and create this VPC. You'll see it does its thing, and once you see the success, boom, success, that means our VPC has been created. So if we want to access or edit or assign resources to our VPC, we're going to go ahead and go back to the VPC dashboard, go to our VPCs or your VPCs, and you can see the latest one we created right here, Cloud Out Loud. We could go ahead and click on that, and we can see all of the details like here. State is available, tenancy default. We've got our CETA block right here, so on and so forth. You can see our route tables, our network connection, which is our internet gateway, IGW right here, subnets, two of them, and our VPC. Now, if we wanted to shut this down or delete this VPC, no longer needed it in use, you see it selected here. We went back to the VPC list, go to actions, want to delete. Cloud Out Loud VPC will be deleted. AWS is confirming that you want to go through with this decision. Let's go ahead and select delete, type it out. And just like that, VPC is gone. And that is the VPC walkthrough. So your virtual private cloud, creating it, destroying it, just like that within a few minutes. On the next one, we're going to be taking a look at how we would add an EC2 instance to this virtual private cloud and its public subnets. Hopefully you'll join that one and you enjoyed this one. I appreciate you taking this journey with me. It's much appreciated. See you guys on the next one. Have a good one.